Good morning and welcome to Entrepreneurship class, which is hosted by JUT and BIT Sindri with all the institutes of JUT. We are going to talk about what is a startup. Startup क्या होता है? Last class में आपको बतलाया था, a startup is looking for a business model. Startup is looking for a business model which is repeatable, scalable, and profitable. You are a startup, and one of the function of the startup is actually to create wealth. And you can create wealth only when you are profitable. And you will be profitable only when you are building some things which is repeatable and which is scalable. And what is that your thing? What is that thing you are building? That thing, actually, you have gone out to the customer, you have found out what the customer problem is, you have defined that, and then you are giving a solution to the customer where you are creating a value for the customer ताकि कस्टमर की प्रॉब्लम का आप सॉल्यूशन दे और whatever his problem, a customer's problem is, that is resolved. Your main goal as a startup, your main goal is to find a business model for the problem you have identified of a customer such that your solution is repeatable, scalable, and profitable. This course is dedicated to Mr. Vinod Rao, actually mentor of this class, and he also mentored some of the students, some of the entrepreneurs who have started their company. So thank you so much, Mr. Vinod Rao. This class is taught by a group of very successful entrepreneurs and serial entrepreneurs and our professors at BIT Sindri and other institute. And also we will have guest entrepreneur speakers who will be coming out and they will be sharing with you their knowledge base, their experience, what did they do, and you would be able to ask them the direct questions. My name is Ramesh Yadav. I'm adjunct professor of entrepreneurship at JUT and BIT Sindri. I'm a graduate of BIT Sindri. I did my electrical engineering in 1971. In 73, I went to United States. I went to Santa Clara University in California, Silicon Valley, where I completed my master's. And then I started working for a company called Memorex, where I learned all the skills. I worked there for 8 years. I moved from graduate to all the way becoming a senior director there. And then in 1982, finally, I started my first company, followed that with the second company, which was Comport. And then after that, the third company, which I did, was Fidelica Microsystems, which was acquired, the technology was acquired by Samsung Electronics. The other professor is Professor Raj Jaswa. Professor Raj Jaswa is a serial entrepreneur. He started Opti and he sold it. He actually went public and made very good. The exit was very good. And then he started this company called Selectica. Selectica was one of the first earlier company in AI in Silicon Valley. And that company went public in 96 and it was valued at over $5 billion. After that, Professor Jaswa did two more companies, and then he started teaching entrepreneurship at IIT Bombay, IIT Gandhinagar, Vellore NIT, BIT Sindri also. Then we have Professor Dr. Prakash Kumar, HOD Production and Industrial Engineering. Dr. Prakash Kumar is the heartbeat of this program. Dr. Prakash Kumar is the one who actually does all the logistics part of it. thank him very much. And he is also a speaker and he's a faculty in this program. Then we have Professor Suresh Roy, who is a serial entrepreneur. He has worked 4 startups, which during his lifetime. Plus, he has worked for Cisco for a long time, and he is an expert in the new product introduction, and he'll be speaking to you on that subject. We want to thank Ria Arora from the Babson College, Boston, and Rena Arora from Harker School for the drawings in this presentation. I have 2 pages for you, which you must read. कि ये स्टार्टअप क्या है, आप इसको समझेंगे कि स्टार्टअप का डीएनए क्या है, ये इनोवेशन क्या है, स्केलेबिलिटी क्या है, और रिस्क स्टार्टअप में क्या है, ग्रोथ माइंडसेट होना चाहिए. We studied the mindset of the entrepreneur earlier in the first lecture. And then funding. How do we get funding? So all those things. So if you go through this startup kya hai, this is kind of will define in a very concise, just 1 page, that what is a startup. And I'll go in more detail. Here it is in Hindi, and we have the same thing in English. Those of you, I would like you to do both English and Hindi version so that you are familiar with both of them. They are exactly same. So what is a startup? Startup kya hota hai? So startup, finding out, discovering a sustainable business model, which is by using BMC technique, business model canvas technique. And that model is such that it is sustainable. Very important thing, sustainable, so that it can repeat, it is repeatable, it is scalable, and it is profitable. The prime goal of startup is to create that model. And then, of course, you have to be profitable, because you as a startup, you are going to create wealth. And you will become job provider. Or you will be working for a company as an entrepreneur with all the skills which you have learned from these courses. Again, coming back, the startup's objective is to find a sustainable model which is repeatable, scalable, and profitable. आप इसको समझ लेना, इसको ऐसा समझो कि याद करने की जरूरत ही ना हो. किसी भी स्टार्टअप का उद्देश्य एक ऐसा मॉडल ढूंढना है जो दोहराने योग्य हो, स्केलेबल हो और लाभदायक हो. दोहराने योग्य हो, स्केलेबल हो और लाभदायक हो. So let us look at it in more detail. Discovering, how do you discover a sustainable business model? एक टिकाऊ बिजनेस मॉडल की खोज. टिकाऊ मतलब sustainable, right? So first thing what you do is, we talked about the repeatability, right? Repeatable, दोहराने योग्य. That repeatable का मतलब हुआ कि अब आपने एक प्रोटोटाइप बनाया, आप कस्टमर के पास गए, कस्टमर की प्रॉब्लम को समझा, उसको निहारा, उसको ध्यान से देखा, उस पर रिसर्च की, एंड नाउ यू अंडरस्टैंड व्हाट दैट प्रॉब्लम इज. और एक बार जब आपने प्रॉब्लम समझ ली, तो आपने उसका सॉल्यूशन बनाया. प्रॉब्लम समझ ली ठीक से, अगर प्रॉब्लम समझ ली तो सॉल्यूशन आपका आसान होगा, अपने आप ही बन जाएगा. यू हैव दैट कैपेबिलिटी. Is now you are ready to produce the first model or the first prototype of that product, that solution which you are going to make for your customer. So you make this first prototype, you make it. And then what you do is you say, okay, let me make the second one. You make second prototype. You see, first prototype is exactly like the second prototype. And then you make one more. You got 3 prototypes. and they're all exactly the same. That is a repeatable, दोहराने योग्य है. जैसा पहला जैसे पहला प्रोटोटाइप बनाया था ठीक उसी तरह दूसरा बना, उसी तरह तीसरा बना. And now you go to the customer and you say, here is a solution. You give that customer that prototype to test. And customer comes back and says, oh, wonderful. He either say, oh, it's totally good and I'm ready to buy it. Or he might say, oh, I would like you to change little bit in this area, or please add this too. And so you listen to the customer and you change your prototype according to what customer is saying. But it is still repeatable. Now, once that is done, customer is happy with that product and customer says, okay, now make me 100 of those. You have a process which is repeatable. You have already created it. Set up the operation in such a way where you are able to make those 100 units. And those 100 units goes to that customer. What does customer has which you don't have? Can you think about what do you want from the customer? What is that customer has which you want? Think about that. थोड़ा सा 2 मिनट सोचो उस बात के कि क्या चाहिए कस्टमर से. कस्टमर के पास बजट है. उस बजट में कस्टमर के पास पैसे हैं उसके पास उसमें खर्च करने के लिए. तो आपका जो गोल है कस्टमर को ऐसा सॉल्यूशन देना है जिससे कि कस्टमर समझे कि सचमुच he or she is getting the value which is solving his problem. And he can make some more profit for his own company. You make 100 of those. Once you have made that 100, those 100, customer has sold them and he is very happy. And not only that, the market now knows that the startup started by you is producing this product which is so good. So all of a sudden, there are 2, 3, 5, 10 new customers you have. And each one of them now wants 500 of your model. So now again, you have to scale, increase your infrastructure. You have to increase your manpower. You have to buy maybe some more equipment for assembling the product. You may have to you may have to hire more people, more expertise. Scalable. But you can do that because you're not spending much money on that. And the next is after that you got more customer, and now each customer there are like hundreds of customers, and every one of them they varies. Their requirement varies anywhere from 100 units a month to thousands of units a month. And now you have a product which is scalable, because that's how you design it, and you can easily produce that without putting too much extra money. So what money will go in there? The money which will go in there, probably the cost of raw material, probably the cost of labor, with new labor which you'll be adding. But there will be advantage as you make more and more product, the cost will go down, your cost will go down. You can pass that saving to customer, or you can keep that saving yourself till you are happy with it, and then you can share that saving with customer. So it's all up to you. You have the control now. And the third thing is profitable. It has to be profitable, right? And profitable, labhdayak. Profitable, first of all, because it is a value proposition which you have given to the customer. Customer knows, customer understand ki, oh, this is the price I'm getting, and this is the value. This is the value which I'm getting from this product, from this company. And so when you profitable, आपकी company होगी, customer will be profitable too because they are making more money, and it will be लाभदायक for you. Business क्या होता है? So business is an organization that creates, delivers, and captures value. आपने क्या किया है कि you have gone to the customer. You did the customer discovery, listen to their problem. But there are five customers who have the similar problem. You identify them. And you say, okay, now you have done that, and you go and now you do the customer validation. That means you have defined the problem, and now you are going to the customer and say, okay, this is the problem which you have identified. Am I saying it correctly? And or do you want to change anything? Because we are going to make prototype for you. So the customer will say, oh, they may say, yeah, it looks very good. Or they may say, no, I want you to add these features, or I want you to change some things. So what you do is you say yes, and agile means quickly, jaldi se, furtila hokar, you go and make that change. Go back to the customer, show the customer what you have done, and customer will be so happy for you. And now you tell the customer कि आपके ये जो प्रोडक्ट्स है, जो सोल्यूशन मैंने दिया है, मेरे स्टार्टअप ने दिया है आपको सोल्यूशन, तो इससे आपको क्या लाभ होने वाला है, क्या, व्हाट इज दैट वैल्यू. जैसे अगर आप बाजार में जाते हैं, you buy some stuff, just साबुन खरीदनी है, right? You go buy a soap. When you buy a soap, you pay some money. How much money you are paying? You are paying that money because that is the value of the soap for you. आपके लिए उस सोप की वैल्यू जो है वो आपको क्लीन रखता है. यू कैन टेक शावर, योर बॉडी इज क्लीन, सो देर इज अ वैल्यू देयर, एंड दैट्स व्हाई यू बाय दैट सोप. सो दैट्स व्हाट वैल्यू जो है, क्या वैल्यू आप कस्टमर के लिए बना रहे हैं, वो मूल्य, ताकि कस्टमर समझे कि हाँ, मेरे को ये ठीक दाम में मिल रहा है. और आप भी उसको ज्यादा सस्ता नहीं बेचते, आप भी वही उसी उसी तरह आप उस प्राइसिंग करते हैं, उसका देते हैं, दाम रखते हैं, ताकि कस्टमर को भी महसूस हो ना सिर्फ उसको अच्छी चीज मिल रही है, बल्कि कस्टमर कैन ऑल्सो मेक प्रॉफिट ऑन दैट. ओके. एक ऐसा संगठन, ऑर्गेनाइजेशन जो है, ऐसा संगठन जो वैल्यू, मूल्य बनाता है, वितरित करता है, बांटता है, और उससे उसका लाभ उठाता है. Four main areas of businesses are customer. We talked about the customer. Offer. क्या क्या आप कस्टमर को ऑफर कर रहे हैं जिससे कि कस्टमर का पेन कम हो जाए, जिससे कि कस्टमर की नीड पूरी हो जाए. फिर आपका इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर कैसा है. सॉल्यूशन, कस्टमर के प्रोडक्ट का, कस्टमर के लिए जो सॉल्यूशन बना रहे हैं, उसको बनाने के लिए क्या आपके पास इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर है. डू यू हैव द बिल्डिंग, डू यू हैव द टूल्स, डू यू हैव द मैन पावर, डू यू हैव द एक्सपर्टीज, डू यू हैव द प्रोसेस ऑफ डिलीवरिंग द प्रोडक्ट टू द कस्टमर. एंड फाइनेंशियल वाइबिलिटी, क्या आप फाइनेंशियली, इज योर स्टार्टअप फाइनेंशियली वाइबल सो दैट इट कैन डू दैट. सो ये चीजें ध्यान देनी बहुत जरूरी है, बिकॉज दैट्स ऑल विल टेक यू टू द सक्सेस. सो एक व्यवसाय के चार मुख्य क्षेत्र हैं: ग्राहक, कस्टमर; प्रस्ताव, ऑफर, वैल्यू; बुनियादी ढांचा, विच इज इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर; एंड वित्तीय व्यवहार्यता, which is financial viability. These are the four things very important. And then what business model will show that how the company, how the startup would make money, how it will do it, what kind of processes it will implement, what kind of strategy it will implement, what kind of organizational structure which it has to have. and what kind of systems it has to have. All those things will have to be answered. उनका जवाब देना जरूरी है कि व्यवसाय मॉडल ये तर्क दिखाता है कि कोई कंपनी कैसे पैसे बनाएगी। संगठनात्मक संरचनाओं, प्रक्रियाओं, प्रणालियों के माध्यम से लागू की जाने वाली रणनीति के लिए ये एक ब्लूप्रिंट है। That's what you have to create. And that's how you will be able to convince your customer. That's how customer will feel that they are getting the right value. So coming back on the व्यवसाय business, same thing here. These three blobs, they kind of says that one is for the customer. So for customer, what are you creating? You are creating value, you are delivering that value, and so that customer, and you capture that value. That means you make profit out of it. So मूल्य बनाना, ये मूल्य बनाता है और वितरित कर उससे लाभ उठाता है। That's what it is, right? कस्टमर के लिए कि कस्टमर कैसे लाभ उठाएगा उससे। दूसरा एरिया ऑफ बिजनेस जो है, चार एरिया ऑफ बिजनेस है वी टॉक्ड अबाउट: कस्टमर, ऑफर, इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर एंड फाइनेंशियल वायबिलिटी। ग्राहक, प्रस्ताव, बुनियादी ढांचा और वित्तीय व्यवहार, ये चारों चीजें हम लोग को ध्यान रखनी है। तो हाउ ए स्टार्टअप इंटेंड्स टू मेक मनी in the business model. So how a startup wants to make, how a startup intends to make money. Strategy and execution plan. कैसे करेगा, क्या, कितने लोग रखेंगे, कहां पर होगी, बिल्डिंग कितने बड़ी होगी, टाइमलाइन उसकी क्या होगी, वो जो प्रोडक्ट डिलीवर करना है कस्टमर को कब देना है, कस्टमर से कितना हम उस प्रोडक्ट के लिए चार्ज करेंगे, वो कस्टमर के पास वो प्रोडक्ट जाएगा कैसे, राइट? ऑल दीज थिंग्स ये बिजनेस मॉडल में you have to think about, and you have to keep track of it if to be successful. So startup पैसे कैसे बनाएगा, रणनीति क्या होगी, कार्यान्वयन योजना कैसी होगी, ये सब ध्यान देना बहुत जरूरी है। एंड इट विल मेक यू, इट विल टेक यू, यही आपको सफलता की सीढ़ी पर ले जाएगा। व्हाट इज स्केलेबल स्टार्टअप? स्केलेबल स्टार्टअप क्या होता है? ये स्केलेबल स्टार्टअप होती है, एक टेम्पोररी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन होती है। तो स्टार्टअप इज अ टेम्पोररी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन, एंड व्हेन इट बिकम्स सक्सेसफुल इट बिकम्स अ कंपनी। स्टार्टअप फेज में इट इज अ टेम्पोररी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन, रिमेंबर दैट। टेम्पोररी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन, कम लोग हैं, डिसीजन मेकिंग इज फास्ट, राइट? क्योंकि कम लोग हैं, अपने दे कैन डू देयर स्टफ फास्टर, they can communicate faster, they can take a decision faster. स्केलेबल स्टार्टअप एक अस्थायी संगठन है जो एक स्केलेबल, दोहराने योग्य, लाभदायक व्यवसाय मॉडल की तलाश कर रहा है। ये तो हम लोग सीख लिए हैं इसको, बात को। लेकिन ये स्टार्टअप क्या नहीं है? छोटी छोटी बिजनेस है, जैसे छोटी दुकान हुई, पान की दुकान हुई, राइट? दैट्स अ स्मॉल बिजनेस, दैट्स नॉट अ स्टार्टअप। या सेल्फ एम्प्लॉयमेंट, जैसे कंसल्टिंग में आप करते हैं, राइट? दैट्स नॉट अ स्टार्टअप। वो तो जस्ट आप अपने, यू आर सेलिंग योर कंसल्टिंग एंड यू आर डूइंग दैट, दे आर पेइंग यू फॉर योर स्किल्स, right? Customer, when you go, that is self-employment. That means when you go and do consulting, they are paying you for your skills. या धंधा कोई, अगेन स्मॉल लिटिल धंधा, व्हाट यू आर सेइंग, या ट्रेडिंग धंधा, या कोई भी इसी टाइप का धंधा, दैट इज नॉट अ स्टार्टअप। इन्वेंटर बहुत से लोग इन्वेंट करते हैं बहुत सी चीजें, but they make it, but they don't take it over. Do not go and send the uh, go to the end line. That means keep on working with the customer till the customer is happy and customer is ready to pay. That means productization is not yet there, है। इन्वेंटर प्रोडक्टाइजेशन नहीं करता है, इन्वेंटर इन्वेंट करता है कोई आइडिया। एंड देन द पार्टनरशिप और कॉरपोरेशन, बड़ी कंपनी होगी तो इट्स नॉट अ, it is it is not a startup. So can you give example, can you give an example of scalable, repeatable and profitable? Can you give example? And at the same time, give me just you can stop the video and write down three companies which you can identify. Three companies, and write down three startups which you can identify. I'll give you a hint. I'll give, like all the, the steel manufacturing company, right? That's all I will say. So you can put your brain together and thought together, and so write down, list the name of the companies, and then स्टार्टअप की कंपनी, आजकल तो बहुत सी स्टार्टअप की कंपनी है, आप अखबार देखेंगे पढ़ेंगे तो आपको उसी में पता चल जाएगा। तो तीन कौन सी ऐसी स्टार्टअप कंपनी है जो आप जानते हैं। सो गो अहेड एंड राइट दैट। ओके। ओके, थैंक यू। आई थिंक नाउ यू आर रेडी टू टू नो कि स्टार्टअप के कितने प्रकार होते हैं। टाइप ऑफ स्टार्टअप, टाइप ऑफ स्टार्टअप, एक तो हुआ ओरिजिनल आइडिया, राइट? ओरिजिनल आइडिया, how do you, the original idea means और किसी ने उसके बारे में नहीं सोचा, right? Think about original idea. One of the things I can say, think about Mr. Tesla, the scientist Tesla, which was he was early, I'd say, 130 years, maybe more than that, almost like 150 years ago. Tesla. Tesla, he said, "Oh, I can take the electricity, and then I can use that electricity and have a motor, electrical motor, and I can use that in a automobile." That time, Tesla had thought about it, and he wanted to do that. That is the original idea. That's what it was, which he did. That is one example of original idea. I would like you to list in your own mind what other original idea you can think of. Now, technological, or another thing, scientific discovery. Example of scientific discovery. Lot of examples are there. Simple example. Think about Newton. उसने देखा एप्पल ऊपर से गिरा, नीचे आ गया जमीन पर। He discovered. It was always there, but he discovered, oh my God, it is Earth's gravitational force which is bringing that product, apple down on the Earth, right? That's what is called the scientific discovery, Khoj. It is there, but he is the one who identified it. And then technological breakthrough. Look at this. सूर्य देवता की किरणें आती रहती है हमारी पृथ्वी पर, चमकती रहती हैं दिन में. And then somebody came back and said, okay, let us take this, let us convert that energy somehow, sun's energy, into electricity. And then somebody came and they make this solar panel. Solar panel, which is a semiconductor design, which converts the sunlight to the electrical energy. And then that electrical energy, now it has to be stored. So it has to be stored. So then somebody came, a group said they came up with the battery system. The battery system is so compact that it can store more energy, more power in the unit area. And that so that technological breakthrough that can help out, that helps all the time. And you will see, write down, I like you to kind of think about what are the other technological breakthrough which have happened successful. New process, नई प्रक्रिया, न्यू प्रोसेस, नए तरीके से, वो कौन सा नया तरीका है? देखिए, think about this. कौन सा नया तरीका है? The Earth's gravitational force has always been there. And my God, it took so long, so much energy, so much cost for for a space rocket to go to all the way to the moon. It is a very, very expensive proposition to do that. But the ISRO scientists, they they came up and they say, oh, let us use that Earth's gravitational force to increase the speed of the Chandrayaan so that it uses very little fuel, very little fuel. And then with the Earth's gravitational force, it keep on increasing its speed till it escapes from Earth's gravity, and then goes into Moon's gravitational force. Wow, what a thought that was! What a cost saving that was! That is new process. इसने new, that is a new process जहाँ की there was a lot of cost saving. And India really became ahead because of that one particular thought. Thanks to ISRO scientists. And then new application. The internet, internet came out. First, it started internet ki, oh, just with the, so that two individuals can share their data, communicate and share their data. That's how it started. Communication started. It was a communication tool. Well, it progressed. And then all of a sudden, some of the companies realized, oh my God, it would be a market platform. And today, nobody imagined, आज से 20 साल पहले, nobody imagined that we will be buying our clothes, we'll be buying our watch, we'll be buying our food, our glasses from the internet. That's what we are doing. So that is the new application. So I want you to, all of you, to kind of think about this and think about about the original idea. कौन से original idea है? Think about scientific discovery. What has happened? Which are the scientific discovery today? You look at the in the energy area, in this scientific discovery. Right? We have this nuclear power which we have, and now there's a fusion which is going on, which is a new technology which is being evolved, new process evolved, जिससे कि it can be done the nuclear energy can be used very safely. So Think about this. I would like you to really go through this and find out. You have to become a critical thinker. Critical thinking. And critical thinking, आप ये सोचेंगे जब हमेशा, what if, curiosity, जाने, curiosity, you should be always curious. ये ऐसा क्यों होता है? Look at the curiosity of the Newton. ये एप्पल ऊपर से क्यों नीचे गिरता है? सबने देखा. Everybody was doing that, but Newton kind of took it upon himself. He says, I want to find out why apple falls on the earth. Curiosity. Scientific discovery, curiosity. Technological breakthrough, curiosity. New processes, curiosity. New application, curiosity. Right? That's what you do. You become curiosity, and then you relate that with the market. And that's when the really fun starts. I want to share here what is the difference between the startup and a big company. Startup क्या है कि startup is searching for a business model. कैसा business model? Which is scalable, repeatable and profitable. और जो बड़ी कंपनी है, they have already learned that. So they have already identified a business model which they are going to use. Startup is looking for a new business model, और बड़ी कंपनी है, they already have a proven business model. Right? Now अब देखिए क्या इसमें नफा और नुकसान क्या है. तो स्टार्टअप में नए 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 बिजनेस मॉडल ढूंढ रहे हैं, न्यू टेक्नोलॉजी, new processes, new ways of doing the thing, and where there will be a lot of cost reduction in that, and there will be a lot of performance enhancement in that. Whereas in the bigger company, oh, they will take time, right? They will take time because they've already set up their process to use their current business model. They have to do a infrastructure change, right? So they'll be a little bit slow in implementing, using, producing, adapting to the new technology. Whereas startup, they can do it quickly. And that's where startup creates a lot of value. That's why startups value goes into, if you see that, it goes into billions of dollars, or crores and crores and crores of rupees. Business model a business model is there are a lot of hypotheses, परिकल्पना. आप सोच रहे हैं कि ओ अगर मैं ऐसा करूंगा तो आई थिंक आई कैन डू दिस. अगर ये दो केमिकल मेटलर्जी में ये करूंगा तो आई कैन या करूंगी, आई कैन डू दिस चेंज. Whatever you think, right? And once you do that, once you have that parikalpana, once you have that hypothesis, now you're trying to prove that hypothesis. आप उस hypothesis को prove करना चाहते हैं, क्योंकि आप ये जानना चाहते हैं कि जो आपकी सोच है, जो आपकी curiosity है, is it right or not? Do you want to do that? That's what real entrepreneur does. It doesn't matter whether your parikalpana, your hypothesis proves right or wrong, does not matter. If it is right, that's great. If it is wrong, you learned something which nobody else knows. किसी को नहीं पता है कि आपने क्या नई चीज सीखी, सिर्फ आप और आपकी टीम जानती है. तो व्यवसायिक मॉडल की परिकल्पना बनाम संचालक योजना. दैट मीन्स संचालक, जो बड़ी कंपनी है उनका तो अपना ऑपरेटिंग प्लान है, वो तो फिक्स्ड है, एंड दे जस्ट फॉलो दैट प्लान. अगर कॉस्ट उसमें ज्यादा है तो उनको, अगर कॉस्ट कम करनी है तो बहुत डिफिकल्टी है उस कंपनी के कॉस्ट कम करने के लिए. whereas startup company can really have an advantage over that. So then the next is business processes are कौन से processes है? They are the customer development and agile development. अब customer development means कि नए नए customer ढूंढना, and then agile development means जल्दी 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 बनाना है अपना product को, अपना solution को, versus बड़ी कंपनी में क्या है? There's a product management, there's a operation manager, there's a planning and execution, and so on. Big infrastructure. So you can see that जो स्टार्टअप है उसमें काम बहुत जल्दी होगा, और बड़ी कंपनी में काम धीरे 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 होगा. Decision making becomes very complex in bigger company, because anything done, मैन्युफैक्चरिंग यूनिट को एग्री होना पड़ेगा, क्वालिटी यूनिट को एग्री होना पड़ेगा, डिज़ाइन यूनिट को एग्री होना पड़ेगा, शिपिंग एंड रिसीविंग को एग्री होना पड़ेगा, फाइनेंस को एग्री होना पड़ेगा, राइट? ऑल ऑफ दोज थिंग्स एवरीबडी हैज टू एग्री. दी व्यवसायिक प्रक्रियाएं जो हैं वो है ग्राहक विकास और फुर्तीला विकास बनाम की उत्पाद प्रबंधन और संचालन योजना और निष्पादन. Then another thing we just talked about is founder driven versus functional department driven. जो आपकी जो your company, your startup is a founder driven, right? Because it's a startup. Whereas in the bigger company, it is all department driven. Everybody says, oh, ये तो उस department का काम है, मेरा नहीं है. Right? And whereas startup में बोलते हैं, सब बोलते हैं ना ये तो मेरा ही काम है. And everybody does their work. And business model canvas for evaluating hypothesis. So business model, BMC, that is what we use. ताकि उसमें आप you can prove your hypothesis. Business model canvas will prove your hypothesis. BMC, business model canvas for evaluating hypothesis. That's what it does. And our next class actually will be about the BMC. So we just talked about difference between the startup company and versus the company. Startup versus the company. So strategy, business model hypothesis, और that is a startup. और दूसरी तरफ है कंपनी में they have a proven model, and all they do is they have their operating plan. So company does just the execution part, whereas startup does the search part. ढूंढती रहती है स्टार्टअप, ढूंढती रहती है, राइट? बिजनेस मॉडल ढूंढती रहती है. और जो बड़ी कंपनी है, दे हैव ऑलरेडी आइडेंटिफाइड द बिजनेस मॉडल व्हाट वर्क्स फॉर देम, एंड ऑल दे डू इज दे फॉलो द ऑपरेटिंग प्लान. देन प्रोसेस कस्टमर डेवलपमेंट, प्रोसेस कस्टमर डेवलपमेंट स्टार्टअप बहुत जल्दी जल्दी, एजाइल डेवलपमेंट जल्दी जल्दी. और यहाँ पर कंपनी में जो है that is like product management, you see that, agile or waterfall development. I would like you to learn about what is agile and what is waterfall development. So go and look at go to the chat GPT and find out what is a waterfall development, and you will learn a lot there actually. So waterfall development is like, you complete one and then do the next one and do the next one and do the next one. So it is like a serial. It's like a series of the things. Whereas agile development is, you can just do it faster. Maybe you can do all the 2 or 3 things together. So that's the difference between waterfall and agile development. Organization Founder driven, we talked about it, whereas here in the company it is the functional organization. And then education, क्या सीखते हैं हम लोग इससे? On the startup, we have BMC, business model canvas, we have a customer development, we have a starter team building, right? We build the team early on and we bring the people who are the like-minded people. And entrepreneurial finances, agile development, and marketing. That's what we do. That's what the startup does. Whereas in the company, it's organization behavior, right? HR management, financial strategy, operation leadership, marketing and manufacturing. उनके दूसरे, they have different kind of they are very structured organization. And then knowledge development strategy, experiential. हम लोग startup में we learn by our experience. Experiential, that means we are trying to prove our hypothesis, and by whether hypothesis fails or it is correct, we learn from that. So it is a constructive learning centered, and it is inquiry based. क्यों ऐसा हुआ? Curiosity. क्यों ऐसा फेल हुआ? तो क्यों हुआ? क्या कारण था इसका? या ठीक हुआ तो क्यों हुआ? क्या कारण था? Curiosity. Whereas in the company, it is a case, it is a lecture, and small group mentorship. That's how it's done. This is same chart which we discussed earlier. So 14 rules, I want to really talk about this. We saw that in the first class, and I hope you had opportunity to learn these. But let us go through this. And again, I will say that all of you, what you should do is you should look at each one of them and understand what they are. It's very easy. It's very easy and it's very natural. So let me go through that. So rule number 1, there are 14 rules. And all the entrepreneurs or intrapreneurs, you have to know this. And now remember, it doesn't matter whether you're an entrepreneur or entrepreneur, but all these things will make you much smarter. It will teach you the skills so that when you go for an interview, when you graduate from college, when you go for interview, when you answer these kind of things, the person who is interviewing you, they will be so impressed that they will say, okay, really, I want to hire you. Not only that, as in the first class, you saw that the average compensation, that is going to be higher than what it was in 23-24 employment compensation, which the students got in the placement. Coming back here. Now, first, there are no facts inside your building, so get outside. What does that mean? कि आपके अगर कोई भी चीज़ अगर आप ढूंढना चाहते हैं, पता करना चाहते हैं कि कस्टमर की प्रॉब्लम क्या है, तो ये आप अपने ऑफिस में बैठकर, आप अपने रूम में बैठकर, आप अपने हॉस्टल के रूम में बैठकर और लाइब्रेरी में बैठकर आप इसको नहीं पता कर सकते. Because you have to go out. You have to talk to the people. Ask them what their problem is. And once you know the problem, then you come back and write down about that problem. And that becomes your hypothesis. This is the problem, and that's how I'm going to fix it. Rule number 2, pair customer development with agile development. तो कस्टमर डेवलप, राइट? ये कस्टमर डेवलप मतलब ये वो ऐसे कौन से कस्टमर है जिनकी प्रॉब्लम आपने आइडेंटिफाई कर दी है, और कौन से कस्टमर है जो कि who are now there, who are really kind of they like you, and what they want to do is, and they have shared their problem, and now who are those customers who you are going to go and you can tell them what solution you are giving, right? So ग्राहक विकास को चुस्त विकास के साथ जोड़े, मतलब both of them you have to do fast customer discovery, customer development, and fast product development. Agile का मतलब वो fast. Okay. Number 3, failure is an integral part of the search. Ab, these are all the hypotheses, right? You have written a bunch of hypotheses in your BMC, and you are hoping that those hypotheses are correct, but you are trying to learn that, right? And when you do that, maybe some of the hypotheses will turn out to be wrong. But that is the integral part of the search. That's what it is. You are trying to find out कि हाइपोथेसिस वो गलत है कि सही है, और गलत हुआ, so then you know you have learned something कि your that hypothesis was wrong. So विफलता खोज का एक अभिन्न अंग है. More your hypotheses are they don't work, you are learning from each one of those those experience. Then make continuous iteration and pivot. जैसे जैसे समय के साथ आप कर रहे हैं, आप अपने जो सॉल्यूशन है, मेक इटरेशन, चेंज करते रहिए उसको अकॉर्डिंग टू द इनपुट विच यू गेट. ओके, एंड पिवेट, इटरेशन चेंज कीजिए, एंड पिवेट, और चेंज करना हो, फंडामेंटल चेंज करना हो, तो गो एंड डू द चेंज. सो निरंतर पुनरावृत्ति और धुरी बनाए, निरंतर, कीप ऑन डूइंग, keep on continuing the iterations, बदलते रहें, and continue pivot, मतलब change करते रहें. So rule number 5 is that no business plan survives first contact with customer. So use a business model canvas. I want to share something with you. My last company, this was the business plan we created. At that time, we were not aware about the BMC, business model canvas के बारे में नहीं था. तो ये करीबन 150 पेज की किताब है. It has all the history or all the content जो कि आपको फंडिंग के लिए you want to give to the customer, right? Give the funder के लिए. So that's how you'll get the funding. So BMC, कोई भी योजना ग्राहक के साथ पहले संपर्क में जीवित नहीं रहती. That means whatever you present, if the first one you present, it won't survive. They say, your assumptions are wrong. You have not considered the market value. You have not considered the competition enough. Right? You have not considered where you are going to find the technical expertise to do that. You have not considered the timeline. Your timeline is not correct. So on and on and on. Right? Those are the kind of things which will stop you. So don't be disappointed with that, because that is the normal process of learning. So always use BMC, which we'll be learning in the next class. Always use BMC. And then from the later on, then after that, we will, each component, BMC has 9 components, and then we are going to describe each one of those 9 components and fill those. So that will help complete the right, your energy will go right into writing the correct business plan, the plan which customer has accepted. Rule number 6, design, experiment and test to validate your hypothesis. आपने hypothesis बनाया है, so आपको, you have the DOE, design of experiment. Design of experiment to test your to and validate your hypothesis. कैसे उसको कैसा डिजाइन करना चाहिए, कौन सा टेस्ट मेरे को करूं ताकि ये हाइपोथेसिस को मैं प्रूव कर सकूं कि गलत है कि सही है। सो अपने परिकल्पनाओं को मान्य करने के लिए प्रयोगों को डिजाइन करें और उनका परीक्षण करें, बहुत जरूरी है। कीप ऑन डूइंग दैट, राइट, एवरी स्टेप। एंड देन रूल नंबर 7 इज एग्री ऑन मार्केट टाइप, इट चेंजेस एवरीथिंग। जब शुरू में आप किस मार्केट को सर्व करना चाहते हैं, व्हेन यू क्लोज योर आईज यू से मेरा प्रोडक्ट जो है जो मैं बना रहा हूं किस मार्केट सर्व करेगा। क्या ये बच्चों के लिए है, क्या ये बड़ों के लिए है, क्या ये जो लोग फैशनेबल हैं उनके लिए है, क्या ये उन लोगों के लिए जो कि जिनकी उम्र 60 साल से ज्यादा है। यू हैव टू काइंड ऑफ थिंक अबाउट ये किसके लिए, क्या ये उन लोगों के लिए जो कि खाना बहुत पसंद करते हैं, क्या ये उन लोगों के लिए है जो कि घूमना बहुत पसंद करते हैं। तो कोई भी किस मार्केट टाइप, कौन सी मार्केट को आप ढूंढ रहे हैं, एंड दैट कौन सी मार्केट को सर्व करना चाह रहे हैं। और तो दैट यू हैव टू बी वेरी केयरफुल कि विच मार्केट कस्टमर सेगमेंट इसको कहते हैं, विच मार्केट सेगमेंट यू आर गोइंग टू गो आफ्टर। ओके, दैट्स इट। देन रूल नंबर 8, स्टार्टअप मैट्रिक्स डिफर फ्रॉम दोज इन द एग्जिस्टिंग कंपनी। जैसे एग्जिस्टिंग कंपनी में स्टार्टअप मैट्रिक्स है, राइट, सो मैट्रिक्स ऑफ मेजरमेंट है कि ये सामान, ये प्रोजेक्ट है, ये कब पूरा हो, ये जो हाइपोथेसिस कब पूरा हुआ, ये जो असेंबली कब पूरी। सो बोथ दोनों जो जो स्टार्टअप कंपनी का और स्टार्टअप का और बड़ी कंपनी का जो मेजरमेंट मैट्रिक्स है वो अलग अलग है, इट इज डिफरेंट। क्योंकि स्टार्टअप कंपनी में, स्टार्टअप में तो 5-6 लोग हैं बस। सो देयर एक्शन इज फास्ट, देयर एजाइल, क्विक, फुर्तीले। वेरएज जो दूसरे वाले हैं जो कंपनी में, उसमें तो देयर आर लॉट ऑफ पीपल एंड लॉट ऑफ डिसीजन हैव टू बी मेड, राइट, लॉट ऑफ पीपल आर इन्वॉल्व इन दैट एंड एवरीबडी हैज टू बी इन्वॉल्व। So the next is the fast decision making cycle time, speed and tempo. तेज निर्णय लेना एंड चक्र समय, जल्दी से निर्णय लेना, साइकिल टाइम, स्पीड एंड टेम्पो। We need to keep on doing that. We need to keep on doing that. Fast decision making because you don't have time. You have to be fast, agile, because there's competition out there in the field who are trying to do probably the same thing. You have to learn about those competition. So you have to be very sure that when you start do certain thing, you have to do it very fast. Your cycle time has to be very fast. एंड टेम्पो एकदम हमेशा जोश के साथ चलते जाना है, जोश के साथ चलते जाना है। रूल नंबर 10, इट इज ऑल अबाउट पैशन। स्टार्टअप इज ऑल अबाउट पैशन। पैशन, ऐसा पैशन कि जब आप अगर व्हेन यू डू स्टार्टअप आपको आपकी रातों की नींद खो जाएगी, क्योंकि दैट्स व्हाट यू वांट टू डू। You want to get that answer. You want to get that answer to those hypotheses, परिकल्पनाओं का आपको जवाब देना है अपने लिए। So passion, it is a passionate, you become very passionate. तो ये सब, ये जुनून जो है वो आपका है। रूल नंबर 11, startup job titles are very different from the large company startup, large companies। जो जॉब टाइटल है वो सब डिफरेंट है, क्योंकि स्टार्टअप में तो सिर्फ 5 लोग हैं। So sometimes you wear a hat of a president. Sometimes you wear the hat of a assembler. Sometimes you wear the hat of marketing person. Sometimes you wear the hat of reaching out to customer. All these things are different. Sometimes you wear the hat of a janitor where you have to clean the bathroom. This is normal. This is normal. You cannot, if you want to assemble a product, you cannot wait for somebody else to help you out in assembling that product. You have to do it with your own hand. So, startup job titles are very much different. आप ऐसा नहीं कह सकते कि ओ मैं तो ये काम नहीं करूंगा because मैं नहीं कर सकता. That is not what the startup is about. अगर स्टार्टअप में अगर ऐसा कोई कहता है या इवन कंपनी में भी कोई ऐसा कहता है कि ओ मैं तो इंजीनियर हूं, प्रोडक्ट टेस्ट में नहीं करूंगा या मैं ये क्वालिटी टेस्ट नहीं करूंगा. नो, दैट इज एब्सोल्युटली रॉन्ग. Mr. Mrindu Prakash, the chairman of the board of SAIL, he said, आप जब सीखें जिसमें भी आप काम कर रहे हैं उसमें सब में कुछ कुछ. That means you know the whole thing what you're working on and you have to know something about everything. Something about everything. And then kuch mein sab kuch. And on some of the thing you have to know entirely everything. 100% of it you have to know. That's how you succeed. You have to, the job titles are much for the startup are much more different than the large company. So rule number 12, preserve all cash until needed and then spend. आपने फंड रेज किया, उस पैसे को खर्च मत कीजिए. एक पैसे को भी मत खर्च कीजिए जब तक कि 4 बार सोचे कि हाँ मेरे को खर्च करना है. वो उसको खर्च मत कीजिए. क्यों? क्योंकि कैश इज लाइक ब्लड ऑफ द कंपनी. अब जैसे हम लोग के बदन में, हमारे बदन में खून चल रहा है? खून चल रहा है और खून चल रहा है और खून है बिकॉज it is going into the brain, keeping our brain fresh, and we are thinking, right? Make us work. But if suppose that blood goes away, the brain will become dead very shortly. So think about this, that the cash is just similar to the blood in human body, and that is so cash for the startup is the blood. So be careful, and spend every penny, every paisa with a great carefulness, and you will succeed then. Rule number 13 is communicate and share learning. तो संवाद करें, सीख को साझा करें. कोई भी नई चीज आप सीखते हैं तो अपने टीम के साथ साझा करें. कोई भी गलती हुई है आपसे और आपने कहा तो आप टीम के साथ साझा करें. फाइंडिंग ऑफ ऑल द हाइपोथेसिस वेदर इट वर्कड और नॉट, टीम के साथ साझा करें. जितना आप ओपन रहेंगे उतनी ही आपकी टीम ज्यादा सक्सेसफुल होगी, क्योंकि एक आदमी की बात नहीं है. इट इज अबाउट द टीम, इट इज स्टार्टअप टीम. एंड देन द लास्ट इज customer development success begins with buy-in. That means आप कस्टमर के साथ बात कर रहे हैं, आपने कस्टमर की प्रॉब्लम को समझा है, and then you are agile and you have worked with the customer in defining the customer problem and worked with the customer to really develop the solution, right? Which develop the solution which brings value to the customer. Once you do that, that's when the safalta starts. That's when the buy-in starts, and that's when the money, the budget which the customer has created for this project will come from his company to your company. I want you to do all these 14 rules of successful startup. जस्ट गो थ्रू दैट। और इसको याद करने की जरूरत नहीं है, इसको समझो। आज भी जो भी कुछ मैंने क्लास में ये जो भी पढ़ाया है, जो भी दिखाया है, इसको आप समझने की कोशिश करो, याद मत करो। हर एक चीज में आप ये अपने दोस्तों के साथ बैठकर इस पर डिस्कस करो, आपको याद करने की जरूरत ही नहीं पड़ेगी। मेरा गोल ये है कि आप अगर क्लास के पहले वीडियो देखें और क्लास अटेंड करें, आपको फिर उससे ज्यादा आपको पढ़ने की जरूरत ही ना पड़े। ये गोल है मेरा। लेकिन इससे मेरे को आप सबका साथ चाहिए। हम लोग सब मिलकर अगर वो गोल करेंगे, तो आई नो यू विल एंजॉय दिस कोर्स। आई नो दैट इट विल हेल्प यू टू गेट your compensation when you go for a job, campus placement. Your compensation will be at the higher end, which you will get. All of these things, that's what you do. Our next class is BMC, Business Model Canvas. That is Vyavsai Model Canvas. I'm going to talk about this in quite detail. If that will take about two classes at least to go over the entire business model. Okay, and then also please, when you want to communicate with me, you are free to communicate with me anytime. Each student, each faculty member, everyone who attends this class, you must have a LinkedIn profile. Okay? Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day. And I truly, truly hope that you are learning from this. And please go through this video before the class, make your note, and in the class, we are going to have a total discussion, understanding, and you can ask all those questions which has come up to your mind. And with that, thank you very much. Have a wonderful day.